Hello and welcome to my YouTube video. So in this video we will be building the full stack application using Vue.js. So let me show you the demo. So basically we will be able to add the reviews, we will be able to edit the reviews, we will be able to delete the reviews. So let's add the let's select the rating 8, and this is the demo 1. And if I add, I can add here. You can see we have, we are calculating as well, showing the stats and average rating as well. We have 2 reviews, and if I try to edit this thing, just observe the form, it will be filled with these values. Edit, and we have this. Now if I want to edit, for example, edit it, and if I save, it will be edited. See, it is replaced. We can also edit the rating value as well, for example 6, and if I add that thing, see, average rating is also changed and reviews are also changed. So we can delete as well. For example, here you can see you can delete as well. Another feature is, we will be observing, the text should be at least 10 character. For example, this is the, now we are above the 10 characters, so that's why the error is removed. Now we have error. So basically we will be covering in this whole video the following topics. We will cover how we can create the components, how we can manage the props within the Vue.js by passing the props, how we can emit the functions, how we can use the slots, how we can use the form handling, the state management. We will use the Pinia, and backend. Basically we will create our own backend using the JSON server, and also we can see how we can integrate the APIs within the Vue.js application. So in simple words, we can say it is the crash course for the Vue.js in 2023. So I got basically this idea from this course. So but that thing was within the ReactJS, so I try to convert that thing into Vue.js. I have an empty folder. So for example, in order to create the new project, we have to run this the command npm init view latest. So we can create that. Yes, we project name, I can say that Vue project. No, we don't need TypeScript. No, we don't need. Yes, we need Vue router. Yes. Pinia statement, yes, we need that. Whitest, no, we don't need that thing. No, no. Yes. Now let's navigate to the project view project, and instead of npm I will choose the yarn. So I can, in order to install the dependencies, I can say yarn. The dependencies are installing, so let's wait for that. We are done with the dependencies, so now let's run the project. In order to run the project, I can say yarn dev. The project is running, so let's preview that thing. Yes, this is the basic preview. So now let's edit that thing. So I can come here and I can remove all the extra code. So let's come here, app.view. I can, first of all, let's cut that thing, and I can remove all of these styles here. I can totally remove this whole thing. We don't need that thing. So let's remove the style, all of them. Close. And another thing, we need router view, but we don't need this thing. And if I paste that, we have this. I can remove this thing, and router link, just write that. So let's remove, and router link, we don't need this thing as well. So that's it. Now if I refresh, let's see, this is the thing. So now let's come to the views, and I can basically, I think it's okay, we can save that, leave that here, and in home view I can cut from here and here, save that, and I should say div h1 hello. So let's save that and let's preview. This is the thing, so let's remove this thing as well, we don't need that. And in components I can say delete these icons and all of the the dummy components, let's delete them, move to trash. We have the empty components, obviously it will give error, but we can solve that thing. So now let's come to the assets. We can remove this, the base css, I can delete that thing, move to trash. Now let's, I think I deleted all of them, so in order to restore I can say that trash asset restore. So now I have them, so I think I should delete one of the base css. So now let's delete it. Main.css, I can remove this thing as well. Now all of these things should be removed, main css should be empty, so we will style this thing later. So I think that's it. So if I see now, yes, this is the default thing. So now let's start from the building this header thing. So in order to build this, I should start here from the header component. So now let's come here and create component header dot view vbase. We can simple this basic setup. I can come here, and so header, and then we have the container, and then I can say nav inner, and then I can say h2 reviews UI. So then we have links, so I can say nav, I can say router link, this should be to home page, I can say home, and I can copy that. For about, I can say about. So about, and let's save that. Obviously it will not affect because we have to import here, so we will import, come here, and I can should say import header, yes, but we don't need this thing. So now let's copy that thing and paste here, div, and then I can move up here, and here I should say header. So now let's save that, and if I preview now, this is how it will look. For example, if I click on about, now I am in the about page. If I click on home, I am in the home page. So let's style this whole thing. So another thing, where this coming from, review, yes, I got it. So now let's style. In order to style things, I don't want to spend on styling things, so I will copy from the original, and basically it's not complicated. I will explain if anything is complex, so you don't have to worry about that thing. So now let's paste that, and it's just simple css. If you feel any difficulty with this, you can comment and I will explain things. It's not much complicated, it's pretty simple css. So if I preview that thing, this is how our nav bar is looking, home, about. So that's it. So now let's come to the we can now create this whole component. So let's close this thing. We can close the header as well. We can come to home, and in home I can say that we have home, then we have container. I think I misspelled this thing, container, and then I can say now we have, if obviously we will divide the whole thing into the components, so we will have three main components. This whole thing we will call it reviews form, and this where we are showing some details regarding the reviews. We can say review stats, and here we have list of reviews. So first of all we have to create the reviews form component. So now let's create, I can say reviews form. Let's copy, and here I can say reviews stats, and then I can say reviews list. So let's create them one by one. So let's create reviews form component. Reviews form dot view. So in another thing, if you notice, we have this card, this card, it is rounded and its background is also white, but we have some inner things. So we will also create some another usable component, so we can use for this card and for this card the same component, so we don't have to duplicate things. So that's one of the benefit of using the Vue.js. So now let's create another component called the card component. We can create that in within the components. I can say that as it is will be used on multiple places, so I can say that shared component, I can create the folder, and then I can say card dot view. So vbase setup, and it will be pretty simple. So I can say that we have the class card, and then class dynamic class. We will have dynamic class. Basically it will be reverse. For example, add this reverse class. If we have reverse, obviously we will pass this props. So and here we will have the slot, so we will use the slots as well. As I was mentioning in the earlier, we will use almost all the basic things related to the Vue.js, so that will be useful. So if you want to, so in order to do things, obviously we will need this prop. So I can say that export default name. Basically this thing is, it's not related to the Vue 3, it's the optional API. So I thought, why not we can include this thing as well. Don't worry about that, we will use the option API as well. So this is for covering all the basic things. So I can say name should be card. Oh, here it should not be, and then I can say props export default here, and I can say the reverse, and the type should be boolean, and default should be false. So let's save that. For example, this means if we don't pass any props, so it will take the value default as false. It means the main purpose of adding this reverse thing, it just for this purpose, I can say that card by default the background should be FFF, and the color should be 1 2 2 1 2 1 2 1. But if we have the reverse class, then it should be opposite, card reverse, background color should be one, and color should be F. So that's it. So now let's save that, and we can come here, reviews form. So in reviews form, let's create the basic V base. I can say setup, and we will wrap the whole this thing with the card. So now let's import this thing as well. I can say import. Let's save that thing, and that's it. So now let's create, we will have the form, and then we have h2. So h2, I can copy that text from here. Let's copy that, and then we can say here we will, obviously, if you see, we have this component. So now let's skip that thing. It's the rating. So obviously let's complete the bottom part, and then we will come here, rating component, and then we have the input group. So this is the whole the input. So I can say input group, and then I can say we have the input type text, placeholder should be write a review, and then v model should be the text. Obviously we will have to add this property. Then we have this button. So I can say button type should be submit, and class should be btn, and btn primary, and disable should be depending upon the, if btn is disabled, obviously we will have to add this property as well. So then we can have the this thing. So I can copy that. This is the message. It will be depend upon the condition. So I can say that we here I can say message, and it will be we if the message cannot is equal to empty. Here we can say message. For now we can just say the message thing. So we can I can remove this whole thing. We will add later. So now let's save that. Obviously it will give an error because we don't have this property. So let's define these properties. I can say const text ref. I can import that thing. Here you can see we are auto importing. So you have to import if you don't have the auto import thing. So by default it should be empty, and then we have the const btn disable. I can copy that, and I can say here btn disable ref. By default it should be the false, and another thing we have the message. So I can say const message should be is equal to, by default ref should be this. So let's save that thing, and let's come here in the home, and I can import that here, reviews form, and here I have to import. So let's import reviews form, and let's remove, yes, let's save that, and it is giving the error. So let's see what is the error. It is saying Saas is not defined. I think we are using somewhere and we don't have the, yes, let's remove that thing, save that. Now it should work. If I preview this thing, I think we are using it somewhere else as well. So now let's come here, I think here, yes, let's remove that thing, let's save that, and this is how it is looking. So now this is the basic form, and btn prompt. So we can edit that obviously. We are done with the reviews form. Now I think you should create the rating select component. So now let's come here and we can create the component. So here we have rating select dot view. So now let's close this header thing, this card thing, this app view. Again, simple vbase setup. And now let's remove this thing, and basically it will be the ul list. So I should say ul dot class, I can say rating, and then we should have the li, and here we will how much numbers we have 10. So I can create the for loop simple v for n in 10 in 10, and then we have the key should be n, and then I can say no, instead of adding that thing I should say this. So rating minus n. So here we have to create the input. So obviously in order to select this thing we can say the input. So input, so type will be radio, because if you see we are able to select one of them, so the type will be radio. So type radio, and we have some kind of IDs as well for the unique IDs. So I will say ID should be equal to num. We can use this thing as well. You should say num, and then we have n, and then another thing we should have name. Name should be the same because it's the radio type radio. So we can select, and then we have the value. So value should be this n thing. So I can say n, and then checked should be conditional. I will say checked, it should be if selected. Obviously we have to define this thing, so I should say selected is equal to n. If that's the case, then it should be that component should be selected. I will create that thing, so don't worry about that. And then we have to say v model, and v model should be equal to selected. That's the case. Now let's obviously we will have to show this thing. So I can say that label for this thing should be equal to this ID thing. So let's copy that thing, let's paste that here. It should be the dynamic, so we can add this colon. So and here we have to show n. So let's save that. Obviously we have to define some things, so because especially the selected thing. So now let's come here, and I should here we will also use the option API. So we can say export default, and then I should say name should be rating select, and then we have the data, and in data within I should say return selected should be this dot rating. Basically we will pass the here, because if you see here we have to here, for example, whenever we are submitting the component, here we should have access to the rating. So because obviously we will submit the data from here. It's very difficult to explain now, because whenever when we will move further, it will be easier to understand. But for now I can say this rating thing will be coming from here. So we will pass from the props from here. So now let's assume that we will have the this value, so I can say rating. So we have to obviously we have to define the props as well. So now let's come here after the data. I should say we have props, and props we have rating. The type should be number, so I can say type number, and then we will use the watch as well. So whenever the this rating thing is changing, we will obviously have to emit the function that will inform this component. So you will understand whenever we are done with this thing. So let's now you guys can assume. So watch, and I can say selected. I am watching this selected thing. Whenever it is changed, obviously we will have two types of value. New value, we don't need the old value, so we will use the new value thing. And then I will say whenever selected is changed, this dot emit, we should emit the function called set rating, and then I should say here new value, we should pass the new value. And another thing we will watch is rating. So whenever the rating is changing, so I should say new value, this dot selected is equal to new value. Now let's save that, and obviously it will not affect anything because we are not importing. So now let's import that, and now you will be able to understand this whole thing. So now let's rating select, we can obviously I have to import it is automatically importing. So now you have here we have to pass the import as the prop. So I will first I should define this thing, rating is equal to ref 10. By default value should be 10. So here I can say the rating is equal to rating, and here prop is done. Now if you see we are emitting the function, so we have to define this function as well. The set rating should be when this function is emitting. For example, in other simple words, when we are calling this function, so here we should also call some function. So we can also call set rating. Let's I just want to be clear here, these name they don't need to be same. So you can give any name, but this name here, for example, this name and this name should be the same. Here you can give any name, so this will not affect anything. So uh, as you can see, this is giving the error as well, it is not defined. So here, because here we don't have this thing, so now let's define this function as well. I can say const set rating is equal to, obviously if you guys see here, we are passing the value. So by default it is the Vue.js behavior, we will be able to access the value here. So now we can say that rating, obviously by default it is 10, but now rating value should be changed. Rating value is equal to, well, we are passing from here. Now let's save that, and I can also log things, so we can observe this thing, log thing, and I should say well. Now if I save that, where we are getting the error, somewhere we have the error in reviews form. If I save that, yes we have, let's see where we have error. Oh, card, this should be the card. I think here we have the problem. Yes, now if I save that, it is resolved now. Why this is the control let's preview this thing. Here we have this thing. Yes. Oh, it is not here. Why? I think I have to refresh this. If I refresh, yes, now just preview that with. Now I will explain each thing. So let's, for example, whenever I click here, see 7 5 yo. Now let's come here and I will explain what exactly going on here. We have this component, right? We are passing the prop rating. For now, just ignore this thing. We are passing the rating. We have the prop, right? We have the here we are saying selected value should be this dot rating. It means, for example, by default value is 10, the value should be 10 here. And we are also saying if selected is equal to, and for example n value, obviously it's the loop, it will start from 0 to 10, right? So it should not be, yes, so it will start from 0 to 1, 0 to the 1 to 10, right? So whenever selected value is equal to n, it should be checked by default. This is the checked, right? If I refresh that thing, the 10 value is checked. Why? Because the for example, if I change the the default value to anything else, for example, if I change to 8, now the 8 should be checked, see? So that's the thing going on here, the checked thing. So v model by default, this is the value will be selected. So whenever I am changing this thing, for example 6, now selected value is 6 and also it is selected. So that's why this thing is also changing. Basically this component is re-rendering whenever we are changing this thing. So here we have simple things. Now we are adding the watch as well. So whenever selected value is changing, for example whenever I'm clicking on here, selected value is changing, I am emitting the this this method set rating. Here what we are saying, we are changing the rating value. I am saying whenever the set rating method is emitting, we should call this method. In this method, what we are defining, we are defining the this rating value. So that's the whole thing going on. So rating is just changing the this value. So hopefully you will be able to understand this thing. Now let's move further. So we are done with the reviews form. Obviously we will come here again when we will add the actual review, but let's first complete the reviews form UI, and then we will come to the backend. We are done with the first component, see? So now let's create this the stat component. So let's come here and the here component review stats dot view VBS. I can say here I can give the class feedback stats, and then I can say h4. Obviously for now I can simply just paste the text, the 3 reviews, copy that. It obviously it will be dummy for now. So also h4, another h4, I can say the average rating. By default we can just simply paste the any text. We will change that thing later. So it will not obviously affect anything. Why? Because we didn't import. So now let's import that thing here, reviews stats. Let's save that. Here we will get the error again. I don't know why this this is missing. So let's remove this thing. Yes, now it is fixed. Here you can see now we have this thing as well. Now let's create this list. So let's come here and I can create the list, review list. Let's create review list dot view VB. Let's close the the form, the review stat. So VBase, I can say setup, and by default obviously, for example, I can show you. For example, I delete all of them. Let's delete this thing and this thing. We should have this string as well, no reviews yet. So now let's obviously we will have this one as well. So I should say p no reviews yet. So let's save that, and then another icon class, the review list, and then I can say here, we can this divide the whole thing into another component. For example, if I add is the demo review set. So this is the demo. So we will divide this whole thing into separate component. So here we will have the another component. It will be called review item. So now let's create review item component as well. I can come here and I can say review item dot view, and vbase we can have setup. So as we don't have the review, so here I should say for review item, so it will be the cart. So I should say the cart thing. Why the cart, and here I can say we will have the button, the deleted button and edit button. So the close button, here I have the the font awesome. So obviously I have to import this thing, so I can come here and obviously index, I can copy this whole thing. Obviously I didn't change the title as well, so let's copy the font link and reviews app. So now let's copy that thing and come here and index, let's replace this thing white app. If you can see that for now we have a white app, so when I will change this thing, it will be automatically changed. So now let's save this thing. Review item, we have the delete button. I should say fa class should be fa times, and then we have edit button as well. Let's copy that thing. I should say edit fas fa edit, and then we have two types of thing. One is rating and another is text. If you see here we have rating and here we have text, so we will add that thing as well. I should say num display item dot, obviously we don't have this thing, so now let's commit that thing, and here for now I can just simply any type any rating. For example, I can say this thing 5, and then I can here display, I can say text display, and any dummy text lorem 10. If I save that thing, right, and obviously I have to import here, so I should say review item. Let's save that and import review item. We don't have, let's save that thing, and if I save, now it should be here. So let's refresh. It is not showing here. Why? I got it. Why? Because we didn't import this thing, so we have to import here as well, review list. So now let's review list. Let's import that. Let's save that. Here I have to do as well. So I should say review stat, and I should say review list. Let's save that. Now it should be here. So here you can see we have this text as well. Now let's, I think it's the fun part now. Obviously we'll create the reviews. So let's close this thing. Obviously we have to create some we have to uh, add some for backend. We will not use any Firebase or Node.js, but we will simple use the a JSON server. So let's install that your add JSON server. And another thing we have to use is concurrently. Basically concurrently you will be able to understand what exactly this will through concurrently. Let's add that thing. We are done installing. So if you see, we have added these two dependencies JSON server for backend purpose and concurrently for running the two commands at the same time. So here if you see, for running this we are using the dev command. So let's me paste this thing and I will explain. Basically start what will do, it will run this JSON server. We have to watch this thing. It will create this file. For example, if you want to create another file, for example stats, so you can rename this thing, so it will create that thing. So but we will not do that. Reviews, and what which port should it use? We are using the 5000. You can use any 3000 or any of them. And here what we are saying, serve. So basically we will not use this dev command now because we will use this reviews thing. We will say serve command, concurrently run these commands at the same time. Yarn start, for yarn start this will run this command, and yarn dev this for this thing. So it will run two things, front end and back end, at the same time. If see, for example, if I'm running yarn dev, it will run only the the back end front end thing. But if I run yarn serve, I have to save this thing. Yeah, now yarn serve. See, we are running two commands. Yeah, here see, we have added this reviews JSON file. For now it's the by default we can remove this whole thing, but see, we are running the two commands. Resources, these are by default things. So this is for the front end and this is for the back end. So now let's remove this whole thing. I can remove this thing and delete that and save that. It will also rerun. So now let's come here, let's close this thing, review list, review item. So let's start the adding the review functionality. So for that we have this text and rating thing. So now we have to create the function. We can say handle submit. Here we have to add, I should say submit dot prevent. Basically the prevent thing will do if you are coming from the JavaScript, when we will use one property whenever we are submitting the forms, we use e dot prevent default. So it's the use case of that thing and it's the shortcut. So we can say handle submit, and obviously we have to create this function. So I can say handle submit. I can come here and const handle submit should be is equal to, here I can say const new review is equal to, it should be text dot value, because we are using the composition API, so we have to use that thing, rating dot value. So we have new review object. Now we obviously have to pass this thing, right? So I should say. Now instead of adding from here, we should move to the store, and here we should add the function. So now let's come to the store thing. Obviously we can edit this whole thing. I should rename, I should say, reviews, and we will not use this structure as well. It's the another structure. Pinia have different two types of stores. I can show you. Pinia, we have two types of store, right? Defining a store, you can come here, and I should say, now we have option store. So basically this is not the option store, it's called, I think, setup store. We have two types of store, setup stores and option store. Both of them are good. The setup store is for if you are a huge fan of the composition API, because here ref act as getters, and no, sorry about that, it's the simple state component state. Here we have state, right? So here whenever we are defining the variable, it's like the simple state variable. The getters act like as computed properties act like as getters, and the simple functions act like actions. So that's the basic difference between them, but I am more comfortable with the option store, so we will use the option store here. So the logic will be obviously same. So let's cut that thing, and I should say rename, use reviews store, define store, I reviews. Here we have the state, and then we have the function. We can return. I have reviews. Oh, I think I made the mistake. I have to cut this thing and remove this thing as well. So now if I say that, yes, we have reviews here, and it will be empty array by default. Then we have edited data. It will be used later, so we don't have to worry about that. So edit able false, and then we have the item. By default it should be null. So main, I have to add the, where we have the error. Oh, here, yes. So main thing we have to add is the review, add review. So let's create the action for that thing. So I should say actions, and the method name should be async, and it should be add review. We will receive the review, so I should say review, and then const response, I should say await fetch. We will use the fetch, and I should say http local host. I can copy that thing. Let's copy that, Control Shift C, let's paste that here. So we will not use the commas because obviously we will pass the values. So let's come here, and I should say reviews, and then simple is that. So as it's the post, it will be post request as we are adding. So I should say method should be the post one. Then we have headers. It should be the content type. It should be the application JSON, and then we have to pass the body. So I should say body. We have to stringify this thing, JSON stringify, and then I can pass review. The basic review, this will be the review, so we will pass that thing. So now we have this thing, and I can create that. And in order to get that, obviously I have to add that thing here in reviews as well, so I can get them. So I should say const new is equal to await response dot JSON. So we will get that here. I can log as well, so we will be able to see that thing, new review. And then I should say here, this dot reviews is equal to, basically here we are updating this thing. So I should say this dot reviews is equal to, we will use the new review, and then we will destructure this whole the state thing. So I should say this dot reviews. So now let's save that and save this thing, and reviews form, I can come here, and here I should say we can import the store from here. So I should say import use review, what exactly is the name. So I can copy use review store, copy, and I should say from stores, and then we have reviews. So in order to define that thing, I should say const store is equal to use review store. Mostly here most of the developer made mistake. They try to destructure this thing. For example, if you see, we can destructure thing, it seems like we can destructure thing, this we can get the add review, but it is not it is not good, because we can lost the reactivity, and it is not recommended by the Vue team, and according to documentation as well. So you don't try to destructure this whole thing. So you should use this by without destructuring. So I can copy that thing, and I should say here we have review, and I can say store dot add review, and I can pass the new review. So let's save that, hopefully it will work. And here two things should happen. First, this review JSON file should be should update. I think here this one, and another thing, we can come here, and hopefully it will work. So if I come here and I say oh, I think it's not working. Why is that? Oh, here I'm running the local this thing. Let's close this thing and this thing as well. Let's come here and inspect that thing. For example, this is the demo. We can preview the network as well. If I save that, we are getting the error 404 not found. I think I have to create first of all these maybe reviews the empty array by myself. If I array, let's try that thing. If I save that thing, yes, I think yes, now it will work. If I say now and console, and if I say demo, yes, here reviews, this is the text, and this should also update. Yes, we have this text thing, this rating value, and ID as well. if I try to another thing, for example, if I hit 10 and if I try to again another thing, and now we have 2 reviews. Yes, this is working. So now instead of showing this dummy thing, I should and also I can update the stats as well and this average rating as well. So now let's come here and we can edit that thing as well. I think we can start from the stat thing. So now let's come to the stats component, and so let's close this thing, and I can close this thing as well, this thing as well. We have stats. So here, instead of doing all the calculations here, I should create the getters. So close this thing, and I should say getters, and then we have average rating, and we have state here, and then I can say that temp equal to state dot reviews dot reduce. We can use the JavaScript method called reduce, and we have ACC and current value, and then I can say return ACC plus current dot rating. So it will give us the overall sum of them, and by default the ACC value should be 0, and then I can return the whole thing by dividing the state dot reviews dot length. So I should first of all we will get this whole thing, this function will give us the sum of the all of the, for example, if I come here, I can it will give the sum of 8 plus 10, right? This whole function, and this whole function, after solving that we will divide this whole thing to the length. For example, 8 plus 10 18, and we will divide this with 2, so it will give us kind of 9 rating. So we will have here in rating we will have 8. So I should say temp is equal to temp, it can be fractional, so we will try to fix this thing to fixed 1 dot replace. Here we will use the regex, so I can say Oma, and we will return the, basically the main purpose of this regex is remove the fractional values except the one value. So temp, now let's save that, and in order to preview, let's save this whole thing, and I can access this whole thing in the review stats. So come here, obviously I have to import as well, so I can come here and copy that this whole thing, copy, come here, paste that, and here I should say average rating should be store dot average rating. So it should be 9, I think it should be 9. If I refresh that thing, it should be 9, not none. Why is that? Oh, I got it. Instead we are getting the average rating by checking the this reviews length. Obviously we don't have the reviews yet, so that's why it is giving the NaN. By default, obviously we will not we will not show this whole thing. So in order to see if it is working or not, we can add this whole thing and dummy, this is demo. So if I save that, now we have rating. If I try to add another thing, and we should have 9. So this is working, but obviously we will fix that. So now let's get the counter as well. So I should say get as, I can say, reviews count should be equal to return this dot reviews dot length. Let's save that. Reviews count, I can come here and we can fix that thing, but by control X, I can say at it was giving the nan, I should say if is nan paste. Obviously I have to remove this. If it is nan, then we should display 0, else it should be store dot reviews average rating. So now let's save that. Yes, hopefully it will work now. So it should be 0 here. Yes, we have 0 now. Here we we can say the same thing. I should say if store dot review count exist, for example, then it should review store dot reviews count. For example, if it is 0, there is no purpose of showing 0 reviews. So or if we don't have any reviews, it should it will give the nan. So in order to avoid that, we can say this thing, else I can say no 0 reviews. I think it will be better if it says no reviews. So if I save that, now it should say no reviews. Instead of, if I add that thing, this is demo. Now if I save that, now we have 1 review, we have rating 8. So this is done. Now let's display the list of reviews. So we can come here in the list component. Here in list component. So in order to display that, obviously we have to fetch reviews. So now let's come here. We will have to create another action for get. So I should say here async fetch reviews try get block. We can use that, and const reviews is equal to await fetch I can, where we have the above, we can copy that thing, whole thing. Now let's copy that, and I can paste here reviews, and we can pass different queries as well. So it should be sorted by ID, and order should be descending. So it will be sorted by ID, and order will be descending. So basically the purpose of this thing, we can pass the queries. So by default it is get, so we don't have to pass any headers. So I should say const data is equal to await reviews dot JSON, and then this dot reviews, basically the state reviews, right? This dot reviews is equal to data and I can say the, in order to preview, I can say log data, and if we have any error for now, we can say the log error. Let's save that, and I can come here to the review list. I can close this thing, review list. Here I should say I can import this thing, import, copy and paste here. Here I can run the loop. So v for is equal to item index in store dot I think we should create the, the another getter as well, so we can get all the reviews. So in order to do that, I can say reviews content should be this, return this dot reviews. So let's copy that thing, content. Let's save that and come here, and I can say store dot reviews content, and the key should be, index, and then obviously I have to pass the prop. So I can say the item should be item. It will obviously, maybe it will give the error because we are not passing the import here. So now let's come here to the review item, and here we have to define the prop. So let's define props. So let's save that, and I have to import this thing as well. I think I have to do the manually import from view type should be, the object. Now let's, instead of dummy text and rating, we should say item dot rating, and here item dot text, item dot text, and let's save that. Oh, it is saying we don't need to import this thing. So now let's remove this thing and save that, and if I refresh that thing, whole thing, it should work. So let's test this. Is the demo. If I save that, yes, this is the demo. Yes, it is working. If I add another thing, demo 1, yes, it is working now. If you see, these are the sorted one, the order is also, because of this thing. For example, if I remove this whole thing, it will not work. So that's the purpose of the, we have the ascending order, descending order, and they should be sorted by ID. So this is working as well. Now I think we should add this edit functionality. It will be little bit complex, but I will try to explain things. So here we have to come again in the reviews form. And review item, we have to add here the click event. Obviously I can say in click, this should be edit review, and I should say I can pass the item, for example the item. So this edit review we will create within the store. So let's come in within the store. So let's save that thing. I can say, you know, the you have to create this function. So in reviews I can say paste that edit review, and it will obviously we will pass the review. And then I should say here, remember I created this thing, the editable data, so here we will use that thing. So I should say edit review, let edited data is equal to editable should be true, true, and the item is equal to the review we are passing. So main purpose of this thing is, you know, whenever we are clicking here, we are setting the, you know, state component, so you know we can use that thing within the form, obviously, because this rating, this whole thing we are using within the form. So that's why we will set, whenever we are clicking on edit thing, we are setting in the store, and from the store we will get, you know, here. So hopefully you will be able to understand the whole thing. I can say again, when we will click on edit review, we will come to the store, and here we will set this data, and from the store we will be able to set things, the message value, the rating value. So that's the case. So reviews, and after that I can say this dot edited data is equal to edited data. So now let's save that, and we have to come here in the reviews form. Instead of, you know, adding this thing automatically, we should say the condition. I should say if store dot edited, I think I have to create another getter. So I should say here, instead of reviews content, I should say edited content. So edited content, and here I have to, you know, pass the this edited, return this edited data. So this dot edited data, let's save that, and let's come here within the form. If edited store dot edited content dot editable, if it is true, it means we click the edit button. Editable, I can copy. Editable, if it is true, if it is, you know, false, then, you know, we should add the review. Okay, if it is false, then we should add the review. But if it is false, then we should review or edit the review. So obviously I have to create this thing as well, but we can call here, I should say store dot update review, and we can pass data. Here I have to pass the object, I should say new review, this, you know, this whole thing, and plus I have to pass this, and another thing I have to pass ID. So, you know, why ID? Because, you know, in edited, obviously we have to use the post. Let me explain, I will explain this thing later. Edited content, I have to use store dot edited content, store dot edited content dot item dot ID. So I have to pass it. See, it is giving the error because we don't have this. So now let's come here and let's create that async this thing, and we have the review. okay, not here, review, and then const response await fetch, and then I have to copy that request and just see that here we have to pass the ID. So I should say review dot ID. For example, I clicked on this first one, so I will get this ID. For example, if I clicked on fourth one, so I will pass the ID 4. Remember, whenever we were clicking on the review item, the edit button, we were passing the item, and then here instead we were setting the this whole thing here in the edit. So we will have access item dot review. In item we will have the ID as well, so that's why we have access here. So now let's come here, we have ID, and as it is the post, it's not the post request, it's the put request, so we have to pass this thing as well. So I can copy that, I can paste that, and instead of post I should say put, and then here JSON string, if I have to pass the body as well. Now after that I should say same thing, const updated review is equal to await response dot JSON, and then obviously we have to update this local state as well. So how we can update that? We can say let reviews is equal to this dot reviews dot map, I can say item, then if item dot id is equal to review dot id, then I should return what? I should return item and updated review, else item. So I can explain what exactly going on here. Let's dot reviews is equal to reviews. So here we have the updated review, right? So I am saying update the local reviews array here, this one, this state one, this state one, right? So I'm saying loop through, and I'm map method. So I'm saying if item dot id is equal to review dot id, the review where we clicked, if that's id is equal to the id is equal to the review id here, then we will pass the data, the updated one data, not the one. And else if it's not equal, then we will pass the the same review. So and then we are setting here. So after that I can set the, again call the fetch reviews, this dot fetch reviews, so we can again fetch the reviews. And also we have to fix this edited thing, because we have to set it to false. So I should say copy paste that, and I should say false, and then here null, and then I can reset again. It was the complex one, but I will explain. Let's see, hopefully it will work. So let's save that and save that, save that. Here I have to import the store, so let's copy that thing and let's come here and store, and here store dot edit. So it is saved. Now I will try to explain the edit functionality. Now let's open the Vue dev tools as well. I can simply add any array. This is demo array. See, we have reviews, we have and I can add another one to I can add another thing. We have two reviews. So now if I want to edit thing, I can add another one. Review 3 1. Here we have the rating 9. So if I add that thing, this is the one. So now if I want to edit this thing, the first step one, whenever I'm clicking on that, edit review, right? I'm clicking here, I am calling that function edit review. Let's come to the edit review, and here we are just resetting this whole thing, this edited data, and just imagine, just preview this. It will change, this will change, it is changed, right? So, and also another thing, now if I edit on this thing, this will also change, because whenever we are changing here, we are resetting this whole thing, and in form we are doing this thing as well. So for example, if I do that thing, I think something is remaining. Done with the edit thing, but here we have to add another thing, so we can update these values as well. So let's come here, I can say we have store, right? So I can destructure this some values as well. So I can say const edited content, right? And I should say here store to ref, and then I can pass the store, the above one. So in order to preview this, I should add the watch, and I can watch the edited content, and new data, and I am saying if edited content is changing, I should say if new data dot editable is true, then what we'll do, we will change the text value. Text dot value is equal to new data dot item dot text, and is the colon. Why is that? Not comma, I have to add this thing, and then I can say rating dot value is equal to new data dot item dot rating, so is equal to. So basically here I am observing whenever the edited content. Now I hope you guys understand the 3 steps. First we are clicking, and then here we are changing the edited content, and then that thing we are observing here. If it is changing, then we are redefining the text and rating value. So we can fill this whole thing within the that review value which we clicked. So that's the whole case. So now if I save that, and if I refresh this whole thing, what exactly the store to address is not defined, so I have to import this thing. I can save that. Now it should work. Yes, we have now. So let's I think first of all I have to do another thing. So here I should add on mounted event. So whenever we are coming, and we should fetch the reviews. So I should say store. Here now I have to import store stores reviews, and use review store, and here I should call const store is equal to use review store. Let's save that, and I should call store dot fetch reviews. So we can fetch the reviews. Now it should work. It will give us the all the reviews we have. Let's save that. Yes, we have all the existing reviews. Now let's come here within the view and just observe that thing. I am clicking on this value should filled with this one. Whenever I clicked on, no, something is wrong. Yes, it is filled. See that. If I click on here, this should fill with one. Yes, 9 and this whole thing. So now if I change it to edit it and save that, yes, see, it is edited now. See that? Now if I try to edit this thing to edit it, so this was the whole stuff. Yes, see, it is working now. So I can explain this step again. Review item, first of all we clicked on the edit review, then we observed, we call this function where we are setting this data, and then we are observing this whole thing here, right? So here we are changing the text values, and then after submitting we are calling the update review because this is not false, this is true. And in update reviews and in update review we are calling this whole thing, we are passing the ID, and after updating we are updating the local reviews as well, and then we are calling again reviews and we are resetting this whole thing. So that's the whole process. I try to explain this whole thing as much as I can. Now let's we should move to the delete review functionality. So I can copy this whole thing. It will be same. So let's copy that. So after pasting I can say delete review, delete review, and here it will be the same. We have to pass the ID, and but method will be we don't have the headers, and here the method will be delete, and after that we have reviews. So in order to, instead of this filter thing, let's remove that. Obviously we have to remove, so I should say this dot reviews is equal to this dot reviews dot filter. We have rev, and then if rev dot id is equal to, if cannot, it should be cannot equal to review dot id. So it will work now, and again we can fetch the review, this dot fetch reviews. So basically here I'm saying if the the review we are passing from here, the after clicking on edit button, obviously we will call that here. If it is if it should not be equal to the reviews, for example, if it is equal to, then we will not return that thing. That's the purpose of this filter. So let's save that, and I can call this thing delete review. Oh, control Z, we have to copy. I can copy that, and in item, in edit delete, I should say click is equal to store dot delete, and I have to pass the item. So it's the two-way process. Here we are calling the delete review function, and here this thing is running. So I don't think we need the response, so I can remove this thing as well and just simply fetch. So let's save that. Now let's see if it will work or not. We have 3 reviews, right? So here we have 3 reviews. Now let's delete one of them. We have 2. Here you can see this is also deleted. This thing is also updating. This thing is also updating. Let's delete another one. See, yes, that's working. So another thing I noticed, this should not be, this should be conditional. So let's come here where we have this thing, reviews list. I think, yes, here. So here conditionally, if store dot reviews content or store dot reviews content dot length length gth is equal to 0. For example, if it is empty, or for example if it is null, or if it is its length is equal to 0, so then it will be shown, this will be shown, else else we will show this else. So let's save that, and yes, see, it is removed. Now if I delete this one, here now we have this thing, no reviews and rating. Let's add another one. This is demo. Yes, I think I just need this thing, so we can add this thing as well. So now let's come here, and it's the last one. Hopefully we are done. We are almost done. So in order to do that, I think I have to watch another watch, and here I have to watch the text, and here I can say new well, and then function if new well dot trim, so we can remove the spaces, dot length less than is equal to 10. Then what we will do, we will say btn disabled dot value is equal to true, and another thing we'll say message dot value is equal to, we will say this text, can copy that, I should say is equal to, this should be the right, and else btn disable dot value is equal to false, and another thing message dot value is equal to empty, and this message should be shown if message cannot is equal to empty. So now let's save that, where we are getting the error. Save that, and yes, as you can see, this is a demo. Now after we are done with the 10 demo, yes, it is removed. So we are done. So that was it. I try to explain things as much as I can. Please like, subscribe, and share the video, and if you don't understand anything, please comment, and also if you have any feedback, you can give me in comments as well. So thank you very much. Till next video, take care. Bye bye.